Welcome back, Summoners. Chords of Thought here with Thunder Gaming League, bringing you another beginner's guide. This week I'll be talking about Nocturne, the Eternal Nightmare. This guide will be based around top lane, but I will also have a jungle guide and builds. So let's get to it. Starting off with the top lane rune page, you'll see I run plus 15 armor pen, plus 6% lifesteal bonus, plus 101 mana, and plus 13 armor. I run armor pen because you get natural damage from Duskbringer, which in turn increases your damage. But personal preference is personal preference. You can also take physical damage if you want. I take the lifesteal increased mana and armor per lane sustain, as lifesteal procs well with Nocturne's passive, Umbra Blades. The mana increase isn't necessary, so change it as you please. Now for the jungling rune page. I run a pretty basic jungle rune page. I run plus 15 armor pen, plus 12 magic resist, plus 4.5% movement speed, and plus 13 armor. I take movement speed quints for early ganks that would otherwise require boots, also good for overall mobility mid to late game, and it will decrease travel times between lanes. Heading on over to masteries, for top lane I recommend running 20, 3, and 7. This will give you substantial early game damage along with good mana sustain. As for jungle masteries, I recommend 15, 5, 10. Having bonuses in movement speed, damage, and cooldowns will help make ganking run more smoothly. Remember that these rune pages and masteries are just a base to build upon as you become more familiar with the champion. Time to talk about Nocturne as a character. Nocturne is a melee assassin who can have bruiser-like capabilities. Being able to travel long distances almost instantly, having a personal spell shield, and a fear, makes Nocturne a deadly champion. The downside to all this though is that Nocturne lacks in fighting multiple champions at once. Now to go over Nocturne's abilities, starting with his passive, Umbra Blades. Every 10 attacks, Nocturne's next auto attack will hit all surrounding enemies for 120% physical damage, and healing him for a flat amount depending on his level and the number of enemies around him. Every basic attack will reduce the cooldown of Umbra Blades by 1 second. Umbra Blades will be great for both lane and jungle sustainability, at the same time giving you pushing power and clearing power of lanes and camps. For Nocturne's first ability, Duskbringer. Nocturne throws a shadow that deals 60, 105, 150, 195, and 240 damage, plus 0.75 physical scaling and physical damage, and leaves a dusk trail for 5 seconds. Enemies hit will also leave a dusk trail in their wake for the duration. While standing on the trail, Nocturne ignores unit collision and gains 15, 20, 25, 30, 35% increased movement speed, and 15, 25, 35, 45, and 55 increased attack damage. Duskbringer will be a great damage source and mobility source whether you're clearing lanes, camps, getting away, or staying on target. Duskbringer will also give you a big advantage if you're in a one-on-one fight. Now for Nocturne's second ability, Shroud of Darkness. Shroud of Darkness' passive gives Nocturne a bonus 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40% in attack speed. For Shroud of Darkness' active, Nocturne creates a spell shield for 1.5 seconds, which blocks the next enemy ability. If an ability is blocked by the spell shield, Nocturne's passive attack speed bonus will in turn double for 5 seconds. Shroud of Darkness will give you huge advantage in almost any fight if you time the ability against the opposing champion's strongest spell, rendering it useless, and giving the increased attack speed for a short duration. For Nocturne's third ability, Unspeakable Horror. Nocturne leashes his target dealing 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, plus 1.0 magic damage over 2 seconds. If Nocturne stays within range of the leash for the full duration, the target will become feared for 1, 1.25, 1.5, and 1.75 in 2 seconds. Unspeakable Horror is great when you're able to stay on your target due to Duskbringer, or even trying to get away from your target that just won't get away. Since every time you level Unspeakable Horror it increases the duration of the fear, I would recommend maxing it second after Duskbringer for maximum effectiveness. Finally, Nocturne's ultimate, Paranoia. Nocturne reduces sight radius to all enemy champions and removes their ally vision for 4 seconds. While Paranoia is active, Nocturne can launch himself at an enemy, dealing 150, 250, 350, with plus 1.2 physical scaling. The range of Paranoia increases with each level from 2000, 2750 to 3500. Learning when, where, and how to use Paranoia will greatly increase your usefulness with Nocturne. Whether it's assisting in a fight, catching an enemy off guard, dealing extra damage, or even getting away. Note that Paranoia will counter Twisted Fate's ultimate, rendering it useless. Now to go over multiple builds for Nocturne. For top lane I recommend going Berserker Greaves, Infinity Edge, and Bloodthirster for a higher damage build. For a more bruiser oriented build, going Berserker Greaves, building a Phage, then Atma's Impaler, finishing Frozen Mallet, and then Banishing Veils. For jungling I recommend Berserker Greaves, Wriggles, Lantern, and Bloodthirster, then build in Bruiser or damage accordingly. Some items I recommend are Last Whisper, Yomu's Ghostblade, Ma Malmortius, Banshee's Veil, and Frozen Mount. When starting the game off, I suggest going Boots and 3 health potions when going top for the extra sustain and mobility, and Cloth Armor and 5 health potions when jungling. Always remember to build to the enemy team accordingly. Also that these aren't item builds, they're just core items for your own individual build to best suit your playstyle. Now it's time to go over the jungle route. First, head to blue and ask for a decent leash. Just start off with Duskbringer for the extra damage. Once blue is done, head to wolves, wraiths, and then golems. As you're finishing golems, assess the lanes for a potential gank, and if there is none, go to lizard camp, and gank if you can. You can start off wolves if you're more comfortable at jungling, but the route is the same after blue. Remember to grab a point in Unspeakable Horror before ganking for the fear. Now for making lane presence with Nocturne. Nocturne does some decent damage early on, especially with Duskbringer. Try not to harass unless Duskbringer has hit your target. Doing so will decrease overall damage output. Also, Shroud of Darkness will play a huge role in lane. Timing Shroud of Darkness against your opponent's most damaging spell will give you a huge advantage in a fight. Also, ward River as much as possible since Nocturne has no escape abilities. Don't be afraid to ult your laning opponent in a fight for a burst of damage. If you're doing well for yourself in top lane, you can assess mid lane for potential ganks if needed. Now for teamfighting. Nocturne is an assassin champion and as such should be treated like one when teamfighting, focusing high value targets such as their carry then caster. When paranoia is up, linger in the fog of war so the enemy cannot see you, and wait for the opportunity to jump in. Watch the enemy team's spells and what they cast before charging in with paranoia. If all the enemy's heavy crowd control spells are on cooldown, it would be a great opportunity chance to hop on their carry. Now for some quick tips and review. Remember you have some decent early game damage with Duskbringer, so getting a few hits in before level 2 can make things a little easier. Just be aware of early ganks. Remember that Nocturne is an assassin and should be played as one. Playing like a bruiser will decrease your overall effectiveness. When a teamfight starts, roam around in the fog of war and look for a good moment to fly in on the enemy carry with paranoia. Remember that Nocturne's passive, Umbra Blades, will heal more the more targets you hit. Also remember to use Shroud of Darkness against your opponent's most damaging spell, as it is an invaluable tool in lane. Thank you guys for watching and I hope you learned something from this guide. If you'd like to know more about Thunder Gaming League, the link will be in the description down below, as well as a physical reference to Nocturne's stats and more. If you liked the video, give it a quick thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Choice is yours. If you'd like to stay informed about upcoming guides, hit that subscribe button. I will soon start making an introductory to League of Legends series for those of you who are trying to get your friends, brothers, girlfriends, or whoever into League of Legends. As always, this is Chords of Thought, have fun, and I'll see you guys next time.